Hello artists, Mrs. Castle here, and we are going to learn about shading cylinders. And I am going to quickly draw the cup, and just a couple of things I want to point out. The cup is a cylinder, even though it doesn't look like the cylinder that we drew the other day if you did the basic shapes. We don't see the ellipse at the top because the top of the cup is at eye level. We just kind of see a slight curve going that's bowing up. Just like, just like that. So that's what I'm going to draw. Slight curve like that. You can see my pencil lines. Yep. Then my cylinder, where the top of the cup is, it comes down straight and then it starts to taper in. Okay. And then at the bottom we have a curve, another curve that kind of bulges out like that. Okay, I'm going to add in that grippy part. That's going to be a curve because of the roundness of the cylinder, and it kind of squishes in a little bit at the sides. So I'm going to put that detail in and erase the straight sides of the cup. Okay, then we have the white paper on the table. It's going at a diagonal. And I don't have my ruler right here. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of freehand it. When I look here, the diagonal kind of touches at the bottom of the black grippy part and then slants. Kind of goes like that. Okay. Right now, that's all the details I want to put in with pencil. We're going to do the rest with the soft pastels. Okay. And not just, okay, I've got some neutral colors here, some white, some gray, a couple of browns, and then I've got my cool colors here in this baggie, keeping them separate so they stay sort of clean, and my warm colors in here. So I'm going to start with the yellow, and I have a handy towel so I can wipe off any other colors that I don't want on there. I'm going to start by putting in a base coat of yellow. We're going to be layering and layering and layering. We're not just going to do a couple of layers and then be done. Kind of outlined a little bit. I'm going to do all of the details on the yellow part of the cup first, then we'll go back and do the black lid and the black grippy part, and then we'll do the shadows on the table and the background. So and it's kind of a lot, but if we go quickly, it'll be fine. All right, so if we look at the color wheel, I have mostly yellow on my paper, and I want to add some shadows, and I'm going to use the complement, the color directly across the color wheel from yellow. That's violet. So I'm going to get my purple pastel, and I'm going to look on my picture and see where most of my shadow is. And most of my shadow is kind of on the left third of my mug, and the darkest part being about right here. but there is some over towards the side, and there's a little bit on this side. And we're going to blend that in. I'm going to use my pastel to blend and mix my purple in and kind of spread it out a little bit. This works a little. My shadow goes right up to where the black is, so I want to make sure I get right up to the black and right down to the bottom. Don't forget with the soft pastels, we never blow the dust across to somebody across from you. I'm just going to take it and dump it on the floor. I'm going to add a little more yellow. Now, looking at my photo, my cup looks darker and then gets a little bit lighter and then darker again. So that's why I put right in here, I added more yellow. And over here on the side, on this side, it's the lightest. So I'm going to dig out my white. I will give you white, and this is quite dirty on the outside, but it's white in the middle, so I'm going to clean it before I use it. And put some more yellow in here because I was just noticing something. Like right here, there's white reflecting off of the black, and there's a highlight there. So like right down there is kind of where, down in this area is where the white is hitting most. So I'm going to add most of my white right there. And I'm not going to blend that in a whole lot because white is a very weak color and it's going to get overwhelmed even by the yellow, because that's a pretty bright yellow. I'm going to go back with my purple, and I'm going to make this area a little bit darker and along my side a little bit darker. I'm going to blend it with my yellow again. Okay, so I'm pretty satisfied with the yellow part of my cup. I forgot that little highlight right there, and goes up a little bit. There's a highlight on this side because there's light reflecting off of the table. And it's hitting up there too, and a little bit, maybe not quite as much going up there. I'm going to add some more white right here. I'm just going to lightly blend this part with my finger. I'm going to, since I'm using the soft pastel, I can use my finger. And actually, I'm going to use my rag. And I'm going to erase that away a little bit. And I'm going to do that over here to get rid of that bright yellow edge. We'll blend more away when we add another color. Oh, that looks better. Notice in my neutrals, I do not have any black. I have a couple of browns that are going to be really good. I'm going to use this reddish brown, and I'm going to use my dark blue. And this is kind of a complementary pair. Blue and orange are complements. And this is a very orange brown. And I've got a nice dark blue. So those are very, very close to being complements. And these are going to make a great dark color that's going to take the place of black. And this is one of several combinations. So I'm going to start by filling in a base coat of blue. And I'm going to be very careful about where I put it. Try not to get any more or any in the yellow. All right, the next thing is I'm going to take my brown and I'm going to put a coat of that on. And remember, the complements kind of neutralize each other, but it's going to take me a couple of coats of each to get it darker. If one color's not working, you can brush things off a little bit, like with one of the stiff bristled brushes, or a kneaded eraser, or even a paper towel. There are lots of ways to erase the soft pastel. I think I'm going to have to get, that's not quite getting dark enough to suit me. I didn't bring brown that I wanted. I should have grabbed the other one. So this is kind of staying a little bit green. And I want it nice and dark and rich, like the black on my cup. So I'm going to switch to, maybe this brown will be better. I can also add some purple. This worked better with the oil pastel because I had the colors that I needed right there. I really want to avoid using my fingers for this part. I don't want to risk getting fingerprints where I don't want them. I might use them later. Bring out some purple. Add that purple to get it dark help get it dark like we want. This might be as dark as we're going to get on it. But that's a pretty good dark compared to the brightness of my yellow. Okay, so my next thing, okay, so I'm going to go to my white, and I'm going to add the details, like where my highlight is there, a little bit of highlight on the side. Oops. My highlight there, and I've got some highlight there. It's a little lighter, so I'm going to blend it in a little bit. And up here, that little part where I put my lip on it to drink. A tiny highlight there. A tiny highlight there. Okay. This is where I'm going to kind of just gently smudge my lights in. Okay. So details like this and trying to be as neat as possible are things that are going to really help your work look good. That part is probably as good as we're going to get it without the right colors, but that's okay. We're doing the best we can with what we've got. Okay, so one thing I wanted to do, I'm going to get out my gray, and we're going to work on our shadows. Okay, the shadow kind of goes this direction, and the bottom of the shadow wraps around the front a little bit, and then I have a lighter shadow that goes over here. It's like when you're pressing lightly, I mean, it's like really seriously lightly. I'm just barely swiping. I'm pressing harder. If you listen, you can hear the difference when I'm pressing more firmly and when I'm not. And let's see, I've got some shadow over here. I'm going to go lightly. Okay, I'm going to add, oops, let's get rid of some of that dust. I'm going to add some of my blue. Really lightly there. Add just a little bit of the purple closest. When we're talking about cast shadows, and this is a cast shadow because the light is coming from this way and the cup is blocking it. The shadow is darker here than it is out here. So I'm going to add some purple closer to the cup down here. I'm going to use my finger to blend. And the shadow gradually fades. Kind of neutralize the blue and the purple a little bit. So we want it a little bit, but not too much. That's looking pretty good. So now I'm going to put some white in. I'm going to start back here. I'm going to do where the edge of my table is, and I'm going to blend some of my white into that really light shadow. And I'm going to blend some of my white into this shadow. I can blend the whole table in, or I can leave it with some texture. It's up to you. I'm going to add a dark background to it. And I'm going to use my blue and some of my brown. Maybe some purple. I'm going to get right close to the cup. So we don't want to leave really big gaps between things. It's good to use this kind of the same set of colors. That way your drawing feels, is what's called unified. It has the same colors used throughout, and that makes it look better rather than just using random colors wherever. Okay. Now I could leave my drawing as is with kind of that texture in the background, but I think I'm going to blend it. and kind of see if I can even out, because I've got this really dark blue right next to the cup. And I don't like the way that looks, so I'm going to blend it out. The blending stuff would be good to get into the little corners. I think I'm going to stop there. All right, so there we have our cylinder. That we made into a cup so that it's very round. Okay. When you're done, take a photograph and upload all three parts that you've done to the same assignment. So you got to do it all at one time. So you can put 3 in at one time or 2 in at one time, and then not get your, it'll turn out right that way. And I'll be able to give you credit for everything. All right, have fun, and thanks for watching.